Hi everybody, welcome to Dram Daddy Whiskey. I'm Dan, and tonight we are trying a hitter. Woodford Reserve Batch Proof 2022. Woodford Reserve Batch Proof is notable because it is, I believe, the only release from Woodford Reserve year in and year out that is at any proof point other than, I think it's 90.4. Something around there. Each year's proof point is different. This one comes in at 118.4. It is the 2022 release. The mash bill in this bad boy is 72% corn, 18% rye, and 10% malted barley. MSRP on this one is supposedly 130 bucks, but I got it at a spot that usually has really good deals, and it was $139.99 according to the tag. That's right there. It is distilled in Versailles, Kentucky by the Woodford Reserve Distillery. Easy. Woodford Reserve is owned by Brown-Forman, and like some of the other American whiskey companies owned by Brown-Forman, they use heat-cycled warehouses. They filter heat in and out to cause the wood to expand and contract, and that causes the whiskey to seep into the wood and then seep out of it. That process sort of imitates aging in whiskey. So instead of having to keep a barrel for however many years and having the seasons in the different climates naturally cause that expansion and contraction, which causes the whiskey to seep in and out, having the cycling heat causes that same process to happen supposedly faster. And it's arguable whether it produces a similar result or not. But that's one of the reasons you don't really find a whole lot of age-stated products from Brown-Forman brands like Jack Daniel's, Woodford Reserve, and Old Forester. Because instead of having to age those products, they're able to just use this heat cycling to produce what they believe to be a similar, close enough at least result. And I'm not gonna argue because they do make some really good products. Let's see if this batch proof is one of them. If you like the videos I put out, if you wanna know when a new one comes out, stay up to date with the reviews on whiskey that's coming out, subscribe. All right, we're coating the glass and we're gonna give it a nose. So I want to give a little context before I give this note. There are certain things about products from specific distilleries that stand out to me a lot that are not off-putting, but are hard for me to get past. For Brown-Forman products, Jack Daniel's, Old Forester, and Woodford Reserve, consistently, I pick up on like an artificial banana note, usually on the nose and the palate, that is really very difficult for me to get past. The best experience I've had with that is in the form of like a Jack Daniel's single barrel, where instead of being just like straight banana runts, it's more like a banana bread, kind of spicy, something like that. This has that banana note, but it's so minor and it's so well combined with the rye spice that you pick up in here that it's hard to even call it a banana bread. Although that probably is the best way I can describe it. Like a banana bread that's light on the banana. And this is baking spice all day. I'm not picking up on a ton of sweetness on the nose outside of that small banana note, but it's like those really strong, pungent, like really flavorful spices that you might bake with that you don't want to use too much of it or really overpower. Like allspice or nutmeg, maybe a little bit. Not really cinnamon or clove. And not really a whole lot of bourbon-y sweetness, like not picking up on a whole lot of caramel, vanilla, anything like that on the nose. It's really just those baking spices. It's like you got some kind of baked good, like a pumpkin loaf that was heavy on the pumpkin pie sort of spices, but less on the pumpkin flavor itself. Or like a gingerbread cupcake or something that, again, was light on the gingerbread, but really heavy on the spice. Maybe I just think this would be really good with baked goods. I don't know. Let's go to the palate. And the palate is where those sweet notes come through. But holy crap, there's a lot more going on. There's a char on this that I pick up on that I did not expect at all. And it's really good. The char with the sweetness and a little bit of the spice. The spice isn't nearly as present as it was on the nose. And the banana's there, but it's not quite as present either. And then the finish is where I get that classic Brown-Forman banana bread note. But I don't want to turn you off if you've had Old Forester and gotten the banana note and didn't like it. This is very different. This is a well done, high proof Brown-Forman product that leaves just a hint of that banana there in a really satisfying way. Now it's coming from a guy who really doesn't like notes of banana in his bourbon. There's a lot going on here. There's sweetness, there's spiciness, different types of spice I'm picking up on. The viscosity is great. It coats the mouth really well to leave a really long-ish finish and you get just such classic bourbon notes, especially on the front and the mid palate. Brown sugar, vanilla, some caramel, with some spice that kicks in when you get to the mid or the back palate as well, into that banana bread finish. The development on the palate for this bourbon is fantastic. Even though none of the notes are really out there or uncommon, the fact that it develops between all of them as you go from front to back and into the finish, it makes this wonderfully complex in a familiar way. This might fall into the category of a quintessential bourbon. Like when you think about what bourbon can have to offer, this hits a lot of those notes and it does them all really, really well in a really enjoyable way. I almost want to say that if you're introducing someone to bourbon, this would be a great one to do it at, but I feel like most folks who are just getting into bourbon probably can't handle or at least really appreciate the nuance of a 118 proof bourbon. So maybe not. At least work them up to that with some lower proof stuff to, ladder your way there. All right, let's score this sucker. Woodford Reserve Batch Proof 2022. The whiskey in this bottle is fantastic, is simple but elegant and complex. It develops. There's nothing about it that I dislike at all, not a single thing. Woodford Reserve Batch Proof 2022 gets a 9.0. Fantastic, wonderful, one of the best bourbons I've had in a while. On to the grade. Price, rarity, allocation, presentation, all that stuff. Everything combined, plus the quality of the whiskey, obviously. 140 bucks is a lot. It is proofed a little bit higher, which helps. There's a lot more richness to it. Feels like maybe you're getting more bang for your buck, but it's also not age stated, which kind of sucks. All we know is that it's Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. So given that there's no specific age statement on here, the only guarantee is that this is at least 4 years old. And paying 140 bucks for a whiskey that is potentially only 4 years old, even if they do have the heat cycling, it makes it a bit of a tough pill to swallow. But it's incredible whiskey. Maybe I'm just slow to get with the times and adjust to the market because everything is getting more expensive. It does make me disappointed that this bottle is as expensive as it is, but that can't be helped. It's really good whiskey. For the MSRP or thereabouts, mid hundreds, I would give Woodford Reserve Batch Proof 2022 an A. Classic bourbon, amazing, hard to beat. If you've had this one, let us know what you think. How do you think it measures up to other Woodford Reserve Batch Proof releases from the past? I had one release from 2021 that was a banger, and I don't have any more to compare it to, unfortunately, but I do really like this one. Until next time, cheers.